Hi, everyone. I'm Nicole from Sourcebooks. I'm a senior publicist here in the New York office, and I'm so excited to talk to you about our two breakout fall fiction titles from Sourcebooks Landmark. Landmark has been doing a lot of great fiction this spring, but we're really excited about these two fall titles. One is in September. It's called The Book of Someday. And this is a book with a great acquisition story. Our editor, Shayna, picked it up at a conference. She was going to read a couple pages before bed and then couldn't stop, read it all in one night, and made an offer the next day. So we've had similar stories in our office and are obviously really excited to have Diane Dixon on our list. This is actually her second novel. Her first was called The Language of Secrets, and Huffington Post called it a perennial book club favorite. She's also a 2-time Emmy nominee and lives in California. But when she was a kid, she had this recurring nightmare of a woman in a silver dress and pearl button shoes who was reaching out to scream but couldn't say anything. So she decided she wanted to tell that story from her childhood. And she does that in The Book of Someday, which has 3 parallel narratives of 3 women who are all connected by that same image of a woman in a silver dress and pearl button shoes. The first is an aspiring author who sees it in her nightmares. The second is a Boston photographer whose image of that woman made her famous. And the third is a housewife in Long Island in the 1980s. And we don't know how those women are connected or what that image of the woman really means for them until the very end, when it all comes together in an amazing way. The book has been praised by Katie Crouch. I think it'll really appeal to fans of Sarah Gio's Blackberry Winter and Kristen Hanna's Homefront. We're really excited to do a big galley giveaway at BEA, and Diane will also be visiting book clubs and bookstores and librarians. So if you'd like to speak with her, please just send me an email at publicity@sourcebooks.com. The second book I wanted to talk about is called Lies You Wanted to Hear. This is actually a debut. It looks like this. But it doesn't feel like a debut. It feels like James Thompson has been writing this book his entire life, which he has. He is one of the oldest debuts we've had at Sourcebooks. He's 67. And he's a Harvard grad who is actually a product of Andre Dubus's Writer's Workshop, which produced such amazing talents like Elizabeth Berg and Dennis Lehane. So we're really excited to add him to that great group of writers. It starts out with a question that James Thompson asked, which was, how can good people do really terrible things? We tend to think of criminal acts we see in the news as being a question of heroes and villains or really black and white, but obviously it's much more morally complex than that, and that's what James Thompson brings out in Lies You Wanted to Hear. It follows the course of a relationship over 20 years between Matt and Lucy. We see both of their perspectives from their first blind date in the 1970s. Matt is immediately taken with Lucy and her charm and quirkiness and sexiness, but Lucy doesn't want to lead him on. She is still obsessed with a lover from her past. But eventually, Matt wins her over. He's very charming and thoughtful, and the night she becomes pregnant, Griffin, her lover, comes back into the picture, and she begins telling a couple lies that create a crack in the relationship that we see evolve into this canyon over the course of 20 years, one that not only affects their relationship, but also the lives of their children. And so we see not only how you might not know the person you married so well, but also how those little lies you tell, the ones you think are okay, are not only hurtful, but sometimes can even lead to something criminal. So the novel has been praised by Jodi Picoult. We've gotten blurbs from Andre Dubus III, the best-selling author of The House in Sand and Fog. And we're really excited to bring James Thompson to your attention. I think he's a really fantastic breakout author to watch. So please feel free to get in touch with me at publicity@sourcebooks.com.